Okay, it is time for the great television versus projector debate. Now, a lot of people, especially die-hard fans of home cinema systems, will say there is no debate and you should have a projector and a projection screen. However, we are now fast approaching, actually no, we are entering and have entered into the realm where televisions and other digital displays are now as big as, and in some cases bigger than, some projector and screen combination. So first of all, let's look at projectors, the pros and cons. Old halogen projectors, you know, the type that you used to see in classroom at school, or if you're a little older, in overhead projectors, or if you're older still, the type you only ever saw in cinemas. They take forever to power on. They have to warm up. Usually it's around 1.5 to 3 minutes, depending on the exact projector. They are noisy, they run hot, and every few months to few years you have to replace the bulbs, and the bulbs are sometimes expensive and sometimes no longer attainable, or obtainable, should I say. Next step up from that is LED light source projectors. Now, they are faster to power on than halogen projectors or traditional projectors, but they do lack a certain brightness, and some of them can run hot, which means they will also run noisy because there are cooling fans. The biggest advantage, apart from powering on slightly faster, is that the bulb life is severely extended by like a factor of 10, as in you're going from hundreds or thousands of hours of service life to tens of thousands of hours of service life. And then the more modern laser light source projectors, which you will also have tens of thousands of hours of service life, they power on even faster than LED light source projectors. They run a lot quieter and a lot cooler because laser projectors are so bright. 9 times out of 10 you're finding you have to actually turn down the brightness to make it a comfortable viewing experience, which means it will naturally run less hot because it's not having to work as hard. So if you're going to go down the route of selecting a projector, those are the things to consider, at least as far as the light source go and what the pros and cons of that are. Then of course you have additional features like lens memory, keystone correction, focus, zoom, etc. Some projectors are fixed focus and you have to put them at a precise throwing distance from your screen or whatever it's projecting onto. Some have zoom adjustability, some have focus adjustability, some have automatic focus, some have manual focus. There's a whole range out there. It's just making sure that your projector of choice has all of the features to cater to the room and the environment that you'll be placing it into. And then televisions. If you're still using or considering using an old CRT TV or a plasma flat screen, why? Just don't do it. They don't go big enough, they're hot, noisy, the picture quality is terrible. Invest in something new, simple as that. Obviously TVs have very fast power up times. You turn them on, a few seconds later they are on. I say mostly because some TVs have really bad software and they can sometimes take 20 or 30 seconds to fully turn on and settle. And in other cases, the TV can have a little bit of a nightmare where it takes a couple of minutes to actually turn on. That's more so with modern Android-based televisions. If Android has if the operating system has an issue, the TV will go through a full reboot, which is not ideal. And you don't want that to happen if you just want to sit down and start watching the film. Good thing about TVs is that they have a vast array of picture adjustment options: brightness, contrast, color, temperature, gamma, HDR settings, all sorts. There's a ton of settings out there. Even on the worst of TVs, you'll be able to improve the picture somewhat. And generally speaking, using a television or some sort of a display is going to be the cheaper option compared to a projector and screen setup, unless of course you're looking at the very high end, like nearing 100-inch displays, in which case a projector is still the cheaper option. And of course HDR. Now you do get the option of HDR with modern projectors, but it's still not as vibrant as it is on some of the best TVs, especially if you have a TV with an OLED display, because black is completely black. There is a complete lack of light, and bright colors are brighter than you'll see in nature. So that's something worth considering and keeping in mind. And then of course there are a few other factors that can be impacted by the screen, and that is of course your speaker selection and placement. If you want a system where the front speakers are behind the screen using, for instance, an acoustically transparent material, then your only option is to go for a projector and screen setup. You cannot use a TV or a display for this setup. You would have to place the speakers around the display. Cabling for video transmission from your source devices. Obviously a projector is located at the back of the room, unless of course you use an ultra short throw projector, which is still installed at the front, and likewise a television is at the front of the room. So that's one thing to consider, where are your cables going to run, which will impact obviously cost wise and whether it's possible construction wise. And then for future upgrades, with a television, if you want to upgrade it, you have to buy a new TV. With a projector and screen setup, now you can start with a smaller screen, and if you have a zoom feature on the projector, you can install a bigger screen later on and basically adjust the zoom to fit to the larger screen. You can also get some projectors that have interchangeable lenses, so should you wish to upgrade to a bigger or smaller screen or a different aspect ratio screen in the future, you can swap out the lens, although those are usually, like pro solutions, very expensive. Probably not the kind of thing you're going to find in a DIY home cinema, but it's worth keeping in mind. So that sums up a few things to be aware of when selecting a projector or television for your home cinema system.